So let's address this Terrence Crawford tell all his side of the story, which in turn was kind of another side of the story. Okay, as I was listening to it, I observed his body language, his energy. He was kind of jittery all over the place and things of that nature. If you're confident, you're not going to have kind of like nervous energy, which kind of was a red flag. Okay, he says these hedge funder guys. Okay, when you talk about a hedge fund, that's somebody else's money. So you're willing to risk and believe that somebody's willing to put up $50 million of other guys' money along with theirs to make a fight for you and Earl Spence, not on a network that we know that is popular to the masses, and that's going to be a good investment. Then you try to say Earl Spence is not your own boss. Well, he is his boss. He has an advisor that advises him on making the best possible moves for his career, which you don't have. So when you say you was talking to the guys, you didn't have a damn choice but to talk to the guys at the table. You lack a promotional company at this point in your career. So, like, to just the stuff that you think that you was doing to make yourself make it sound better, you made yourself sound even worse, and it just exposed so much of the business acumen side of the game that you are not privy to, and your team as well, because they would be advising you. Why would a person not go with a person who's established multi-millionaire and been doing business, rather go with a hedge fund that is not even guaranteed to even bring back the return on investment? Furthermore, you want to try to convince Spence to come with you and for a guaranteed $25 million when he's been doing business with Al Heyman as his advisor and has done great business for him. You mean to tell me you have a better option, a better business plan for Earl Spence and yourself when you haven't even done great business in your career, period, to begin with? So that's where I'm kind of lost. Yeah, kind of lost that, because I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And if you mean to tell me that in a contract that you said you agreed to all terms and everything like that, so if you agreed to all terms and everything that they had going, that means you were okay with what was going on or what you were being offered. So it's kind of like you contradicting your own words in a sense, because you saying you tried to get Earl Smith to come with you over to an unproven entity that you say the guys and the hedge funder guys know who Al Heyman is. Just because they know who he is doesn't mean that they're good businessmen. You know, you can check the business guys' research, and you know, you can see that, hey, they haven't always had the best businesses. So why would that be a good point or a good place to go to try to get the fight when they're not proven? So they're willing to risk giving up big money and not being a proven entity and hoping and praying that they're going to get a big back end. I mean, it just don't make any sense, man. Shit just baffles my mind, and people are gonna run with this and like, yeah, Earl Spence, you turned down $25 million. What proof do we have that $25 million was offered? Because if it comes to Terrence Crawford, he has to produce no evidence. But if it's Earl Spence, he has to produce the sun, the moon, and all the stars and rainbows and everything else you can think of when it comes to proof, to making sure that his word isn't good enough, but Terrence Crawford's word is good, and we just supposed to take that and run with it. If Bob Arum was Terrence Crawford's advisor, do you think he would advise him to go with hedge fund guys who, you know, are not proven and they don't have stats to prove that they can do good business or even put on fights that actually are meaning to anybody? I mean, some stuff is just absurd. And I don't think that he would advise him to do that anyway. And if you listen to Terrence Crawford, Bob Arum, he basically says that, you know, it's kind of his fault that he doesn't have this fight going, because he doesn't have basically a promotional outfit or network to back him. In hindsight, makes it that much harder, because you don't have somebody to guarantee that the fight's going to go down and to do the business aspect for you. Hence the reason why Errol Spence is not at the table talking, because he has people to talk for him. Since you're a solo independent entity now, Terrence Crawford, you have to sit down and talk to these people in high places and in position of power to get deals done. You don't have a choice. You're a man that's a free agent. So you have no choice other than a lawyer you hire in your team. They're supposed to be the one helping you and sitting down negotiating with you, but yet again, your team is important. So, man, it's just a lot of hoopla, and it's just got to make it make sense. Which entity has proven that they can get stuff done and get fights done versus a lot of he say, she say. So we need proof of what Terrence Crawford was talking about. You talking about they sent you a contract. It was basically like an offer to get negotiations started and stuff like that. But you just admitted that there was a contract, and you did business with them when you fought Sean Porter, because Bob Arum Top Rank didn't take up the first bid. PBC and Al Heyman did. And there was no problem to see the books then or whatever, because you took the money and it was all good, not a problem. So why all of a sudden you want to see the books for Errol Spence, but you didn't ask for them when you fought Sean Porter? Like, you contradict yourself too often, and you got to make that make sense. Now you want to see him for the biggest fight, and you didn't ask about any back end or whatever the case might be, even though that fight wasn't a pay-per-view fight. You did business with them still in somehow, in some form, because they took up the first bid. But I guess we all forget that and supposed to act like that. Top Rank and Bob Arum at that time, who were your promoter, didn't pick up that fight or that purse split. Well, sometimes you can think that you're doing yourself a service by speaking on a situation, and sometimes you can make things worse for yourself and make yourself look even worse by the things that you say, by the energy you produce, and by the things that you try to narrate to create a agenda to get people to believe something, because where's your proof? Like, y'all forcing and begging everybody else to show proof. So for transparency, what you were asking for was not transparency. You were trying to bite off more than you could chew, thinking it's smart business, but it's really a form to duck, because you can like, well, they didn't let me see the book, so that's why I'm not fighting them. Man, this is where we at. After 6 months of hoopla back and forth, IG wars, Twitter wars, Team Crawford, Team Spence, and we just got to look at the track record of the consistency of who actually really wanted this fight. You know, you have Earl saying he's doing what he's going to do. He's done it. After the third strap, after he get it from Ugas, we'll see holding up the fight. Terrence Crawford has 50-50 or no fight, 60-40 in my favor. I'm past this fight. So it's like people keep forgetting that this man always denied the fight. You know, even if they offered him 50-50, he said he wouldn't take the fight. Sorry, this is a blatant duck. And Terrence Crawford, you fumbled the pack on the Errol Spence fight.